Good morning or good evening.
Hello, yes.
How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. I tend to go with hello because then you avoid the whole time zone problem.
That's true. That's true. I should start using that as well. I don't know if you saw Casey's message, but he came down with a bit of a fever, so he's not going to be able to make it today. And unless you want to lead that, I was just going to talk about if anyone shows up, Calico Big Cats, and get feedback about how we can make this meeting better.
So Matt Lung is on holiday.
It's the holiday season. Everyone is kind of
Yes.
all over the place right now.
I don't have the notes for the for what was planned to talk about this meeting.
Neither do I. Matt said he was taking notes on the documents. Hi, Eric. But yeah, the document is not opening up. It's giving me an error.
I guess this is the group. This is the only people that have showed up. I guess
Yeah.
Casey's not feeling well still.
Yes, Casey's sick. Matt Lung's on holiday.
Yeah.
Well, if no one shows up externally, I actually wanted to chat with you guys about this meeting specifically. So I just want to understand, the purpose of the meeting is obviously discuss Calico open source, right? Hi, Sean. But yeah, I was discussing it with Utpal, and the attendance is really low, and we were talking about how we can repurpose this meeting and make it interesting. And how do we draw attention from the community so it's more people? What is your observation throughout the years, I would say, or months from these meetings?
It's always been a fairly quiet meeting. We've had times when some of the key partners and customers and stuff show up, like IBM, pretty regular. Used to be pretty regular attendees.
Oh, Nathan is here. Do you think it would be more interesting? I know it's tough to come up with demos and stuff to visually share every time. But I'm just trying to figure out an easy way for our team, but also make it interesting for the attendees as well.
I think the intent in general is to always have a demo. Obviously, it doesn't help if people are sick.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the purpose of this meeting is to be available for anyone who does want to, who decides they do want to come here, and they have a particular problem with a particular bug, and they want to come and get access to the developers of the project and shout at them to prioritize this bug because it's kind of a so GitHub issues are great, but sometimes there's nothing quite beats face to face and
Yeah, true. Okay.
And if this project ever got moved into the CNCF, this kind of meeting would be a requirement.
Okay, got it. I did not know that, so I'll make a note of that.
And to be clear to anyone watching the recording afterwards, I don't believe there's a plan to do that right now, but it's not impossible.
Okay.
Nathan, what would make that meeting more interesting for you?
Great question.
I know it's a tough one.
Yeah, and also I don't know if my opinion on this one is the most relevant, because being sort of part of the project as well. So I have a few things that would be interesting for me, but I don't know if they will reflect the opinion of the community. So as a Calico VP is quite specific, and also
So what? So you have what are the few things? Do you really do you have some stuff and you just don't want to say it? But like, feel free to say it. I mean, we're all ears if there is something that would make it more.
Yeah, no. Generally speaking, so I'm quite fond of demos, but we already do quite a few of those. So yeah, not many more original thought than that.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, it was rather me trying to be mysterious instead of just hiding just common sense suggestions.
Okay, no,
I feel like
no problem.
that's been one of the successes of these meetings, like getting face to face with the PPP team and others who kind of like have a big interest in Calico. Like that always works because the people show up to the meeting because they care about what we're doing. Like IBM often come to the meetings because they care about what's going on and how it's going to impact them, and they want to shout at us about a particular bug or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to reach a wider audience with this. Like we can publish it on like Calico users, but people tend to go there when they want help. Like we don't have a big extended community apart from that, I think.
To be fair, having been to a few of the this kind of meeting for CNCF projects and for Kubernetes special interest groups, those also have poor attendance, or at least the ones I've been to.
Okay. In that case, I'm just gonna say, whoever watches this recording, if they have any suggestions, they should reach out to us on Slack and come up with ideas, because we are always like looking into improving.
I don't think you're actually recording.
It says it's recording.
It is recording, but I
it?
don't know where it's gonna end up because it's not my computer. I'm not in charge of the meeting.
I think it goes
That's
to
weird.
Casey.
I do not see an indication that it's recording at my end.
I think it ends up on YouTube, doesn't it? Because I don't know who does that.
Yeah. I think it's where we started that Casey was ill. Who's the one who might have had a demo? I don't think I've got anything to demo, but I have been working on some improvements recently for scale and robustness. So dusted off the Typha component and giving that a bit of love. Just like if you're at really, really big scale, we found there were some issues there. Like 10,000 nodes plus, that kind of thing. So I've been adding compression and stuff to that protocol, and generally speeding it up by sharing snapshots between different clients. Yeah, it's hard to demo. Lance is working on making it demoable by simulating big clusters. That's something that we want to do. I've got no idea how that would impact you, Nathan. That would help you at all as well.
The scaling, yeah, we looked a bit into it. So actually, it's not me, it's Hadi who did the work on the scaling, and we lost all servers due to physical move of those servers last month, so we cannot stop doing that. But yeah, it would definitely be helpful to. They're supposed to be back next week or so, so we should resume, and yeah, it would definitely be helpful if you develop tooling on that.
I think the upshot, I think the sort of direction we're going to go in is to build some sort of like mock Calico node, so that we can simulate the load on other components and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
Type is one component I want to stress for this particular bit of work, and there's no real good way to do that apart from having lots of Calico nodes at the moment. And we need kind of the difficult thing is that Felix, a lot of the work that Felix does depends on like how many endpoints you have in your cluster, how many pods you have in your cluster, how many nodes, those kind of things. And like we're wanting to build ways to simulate having lots and lots and lots of nodes and lots of pods without actually having to run all those pods, because we don't really need to run them to test the local Felix.
Cool. We've actually found Casey's notes for this meeting, so I might go through those if people are keen.
Okay.
Okay. So he says that there's been a few big changes in the release plan, and he apologizes for going back on features we promised last meeting. And so 3.25, the planned release date is now going to be a bit late, probably around Thursday, December 22nd. And the new features in there are going to be eBPF data plane stability, so connect time load balancer improvements. Apparently the CTLB caused some issues with. Right.
Sorry,
yes,
I was going to share this and try to take notes as you were going.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Apparently the CTLB caused some issues with traffic using the same source port, which was signaled to Calico. It was the same connection. So this is problematic if your backing pods move and the IPs are not updated. So when Calico tries to connect again, it finds the old connection and the old IP addresses. There are still some kinks with this, so it probably needs to be manually enabled for now and treated more as a tech preview feature. And as always, we have a bunch of bug fixes. For example, fixing the panic caused by invalid handling of spoofed IP ranges, which is PR 7076, in case anyone's interested. So 3.26. So unfortunately, the features that have dropped out of 3.25 are now targeted for 3.26. And again, Casey apologizes. We're also working hard on some BGP improvements, so BGP filtering and that sort of thing, which should release with 3.26. And there is a long-awaited security enhancement to have separate permissions for Calico node and the CNI.
My scale improvements are in 3.25 as well. Along with
Awesome.
some fixes to Prometheus metrics for Typha, and they were all jumbled, and like some improvements to health reporting, kind of mainly for Felix, but you now get nice outputs into the logs when Felix calculates the health of the system, and there's now a knob, a configuration knob, to override the timeouts on any of the health watchdog timers, which is something that I feel like we've needed for a while. Like if you're at really big scale or you're in some kind of constrained environment, sometimes those timers are wrong and they do more harm than good to time something out when you should just make the timer longer. So sort of tune those and expose them as well.
Eric, this health reporting improvement and configuration is 3.25, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I realize it's hard to follow when you're typing as well.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
We all do. So in the hot issues section, we have issue 4509. So this is the issue corresponding to the conversation and work around the CTLB fixes.
CTLB?
Sorry, Connect Time Load Balancer, the BPF. Oh, Sean can probably explain it better than I can.
That's what it says on the tin. It load balances connections at the point where you're creating a connection. So when you call the connect syscall to connect to something, it can swap the destination for the backing pod at that point. And there's always been a couple of gaps in that feature in certain situations, and this well, it was intended to cover all bases, but that feature has some corner cases. Like there are some applications that very specifically want to be connected to the service IP and not connected to an individual backing pod, particularly for UDP applications. If they connect to the service IP and the backing pod goes away, they don't detect necessarily that the backing pod has gone away if you sort of swap in the connection to send them direct there. So this kind of plugs that gap by just implementing that load balancing at the packet-based level if you turn that feature on. So you can have the connect time load balancer for TCP where it's fairly robust and your connection would die if the backend goes away anyway. So you'd have to reconnect and then reload balance you. And then for UDP, you can have it fall back on the like packet-based behavior, which is slower but works.
Sean, maybe you can add a note to. I'm sure I can summarize what the issue is.
Yeah.
Oh, here, let's see. What's this say? No, I bet that's not really.
Let's see if I can find it up.
It says DNS lookups from Nginx to core DNS and eBPF mode fail, but I'm guessing that's a detailed specific problem.
Nginx is the example of an app that gets stuck if you do its load balancing at connection time. So there's lots of different ways you can send UDP packets, but if you send UDP packets using a connected socket, which is what Nginx does, then previously we'd get stuck on one backend when you did that, and then that's fine until the backend goes away. And then when the backend goes away, like we'd still be stuck and had no way to recover after that.
Okay.
So yeah, we didn't spot that issue when we were first designing the system. And like DNS is probably the biggest case where this would go awry. Yeah, that's kind of the gap that it plugs.
Is that gap pretty much only? Is that only for UDP really then?
So yeah,
Right?
that's only for UDP really. So I think the implementation of the workaround works for TCP as well. If you turn the connect time load balancer off for TCP as well, but it's only really a problem with UDP because TCP is a connection-based protocol. So if you connect to some backend and then that backend goes away, your TCP connection is also going to die. You know, next time you send a packet, you'll get a reset or it will go into the ether. So eventually you'll detect that and then either you'll crash, which you would have crashed anyway, or you'll reconnect to the service and we'll load balance you to an active backend and then that will work. So it's for TCP, it kind of aligns nicely with the protocol. For UDP, we didn't spot that that gap initially, and it took quite a bit of work to implement a sort of fallback path for that. That's why it's been a long time coming.
Nathan, do you have any updates on the VPP side for 3.25 or 3.26?
Sure. So for 25, we are still aiming at stabilizing and doing so. Main improvements went into scale improvements. Trying to support as so scaling number of nodes, services, policies. We have a few pending PR. One of them went in, and we just realized that there was a mistake in the PR that was submitted. So we have just a small hotfix patch that Hedy pushed just today. But with that, we should be able to remove the need for watching nodes that we had on the Calico API. So that should improve the scalability a lot. We are currently testing policies a bit more, trying to stabilize that as well, and still improving CI. So a few issues that Lance, you are aware of. I'll probably add painfully aware, but yeah, jokes aside, we're trying to improve stability and still working on automating the CI and also integrating with the FD test for the part that so for the policy part. Recently added the support for BGP secrets. And so that raised a small question on my end.
Nathan,
yeah.
the BGP secret, is that for 325 or is that
325?
okay? All right, cool.
We backported it into 324, but because we needed it for deployment. But yeah, it's main target is 325. And the question I had is the BGP improvements for 326. Do you target specific BGP features? Adding BGP features like BGP secrets or exposing some specific some additional parameters in BGP, or I didn't really get the.
I will need to go and look up the details, I think.
Okay.
Unless Sean knows the details. I think Sean was involved in that.
The note
Sorry,
says
tuned out for
BGP
a second.
filter. Sean, the question, Sean, was for 326. Do you know what the BGP improvements are? The notes say BGP filter. I don't know if that.
So I think we're adding import and export filters to BGP.
Okay.
So that
Okay, so it's probably higher level than. I was just wondering whether it was BGP core features like the BGP secrets that we wouldn't be aware of and would need to support, because as we are leveraging GoBGP and not Bird, we have to replicate. So just to pass the parameters down to the GoBGP API instead of Bird. Just wanted to check if there was a.
Yeah, I think there would
Sean.
be something to do there. Then I think it's each BGP peer is going to get a list of filter objects. Then there'll be a separate object in the API, which is a BGP filter, and it will have some basic capability to filter based on CIDRs. I think it's kind of an enabling feature for an enterprise feature that we're adding, but this part of the feature just belongs in open source. It's just a nice to have.
We should make sure Nathan gets at least a high level design for that.
Yeah, well, I'm taking a note to have a look at that.
Yeah, if you
326.
ping me on
Yeah.
Slack, I can check that is what it is that I'm doing.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool. Thanks. And last thing, we did change the way we were configuring Calico EVP, and that's supposed to make it to 325, meaning the way to specify the number of buffers allocated to interfaces to have finer grain annotations to control the various knobs that VP allows on interfaces, like a number of queues, size of queues, a bit of tweaking on the drivers in case you're using memifs and all that. So bit of API rationalization. And that's mostly it for 325.
Can you quickly say the summary on that? Was that improved?
It's
Basically improved API.
Yeah, it's improved API, improved and rationalized API. So before we had really top level variables like number of queues for all tabs in the system, and now you can, for every container, you can have an annotation that says for this specific container, I want more queues because it's a workload that requires higher PPS or higher throughput, and that one is just for management, so I don't really care. So that way you can manage the amount of memory you want to allocate on your system.
Okay.
And hence the CI issues, because we changed the API under the CI split. So it's more interface customizing interface specs for workloads. Is the
Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Well, that good. Good enough.
Yeah. Sorry if that put clear enough.
No, you're good. And I mean, I think you probably have access to this, Nathan, if you want to
Yeah.
improve it at some point.
I'll have a look at things.
Yeah.
And obviously, Nathan, if the CI issues are on my side, don't hesitate to poke me and make me go and fix them.
Will do. Thanks. Thanks for the help as well.
Cool. I think that might be it. Have I missed anything, anyone?
Well, I didn't really talk about operator, but I don't know that I have anything particularly for this. I think there might. I think there's a few operator, or at least there's, I think, one operator PR for somebody from the community submitted something that kind of followed the pattern that I know we need to review. But it was nice to see a PR come in from someone not from Tigera. But I don't think I had anything specific for the operator. So yeah, I think probably good.
Cool. I guess we call it there then.
All right. Did you have any more broad this meeting questions or?
Not really.
No. More demos, right?
More demos. Yeah, always more demos. People love demos.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for running it, Lance.
No worries. Nice to see everyone. Thanks.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Have a good holiday.
Yeah.
You too.
Ah, yes.
Merry Christmas. Bye.